What's up, Fit Fam? I'm Ryan Milton from TeamFFLEX. You're on my show I do every Monday for you, Protein Power, TeamFFLEX TV, where we talk about everything nutrition, all right? Today we're going to dive into off-season / improvement season nutrition, specific for pretty much all divisions, all right? And this is a question I get pretty much 24/7, especially this time of the year as the season has come to pretty much close down. We're actually, done really with everything this year, and everybody's kind of moving into their off season, their improvement season. There's a lot of different factors that you need to consider and things you'll want to do right, and that's what we're going to cover all right here today, all right? So at any point in time, please, if you get anything out of my video, share it for me. It helps me a lot, you guys. I just want to get people this information, and then subscribe to my channel to make sure you're not missing one of the five awesome shows I'm running for you all week. All right, let's get into it, okay? So, improvement season, off season. First thing I want to make clear is when I say improvement season in this video, if you're not used to that term, I do mean off season. I just don't use that term because there is no off season in my perspective of coaching, okay? So as TeamFFLEX, our coaches, we coach our competitors 365. That means 365 days a year, all year. We're training them through all different phases, okay? And so they might be in a prep for some of that. They might be in a prep for most of that, but if they're not in a prep, they're in what I call improvement season, what most of you would call the off season. And this is where we dedicate all of this towards training for the improvements that need to be made. You get your judges' feedback, you got to really apply it. You got to start training for it. You got to get your nutrition up, get your calories up, do all that. And today we're going to talk specifically just about that nutrition. But I just want to make clear that's what I'm talking about. That's what it is. It could be the off season or the improvement season in your mind, but I'll say improvement season a lot in this video because that's how I roll. All right, let's dive in. So you're in nutrition. How do you specifically take the nutrition that needs to be done in an improvement season and make it maximize your actual ability to get those results, get in the best spot to again do another prep? Because really that's what we're doing, right? If you were on point no matter what, you had a great prep, you got first place, you got last place, you didn't do so well, whatever, it doesn't matter. You have to go and make improvements, and that's really what you got to do. You got to get your feedback, you got to understand what that is, know what you need to improve on. And the main thing when it comes to nutrition, usually in a prep we're dieting pretty hard for some people not as bad, but no matter what, you're dieting. And when you diet down, your body actually will slow down your metabolism. This happens no matter what, okay? So we have our maintenance level of calories that we are at, and if we drop them and we continue to drop them and you're doing, dropping week after week in a prep and you're doing cardio, you're doing training, your calories, they're at a much lower spot than your maintenance that you started with, okay? And so that what happens is your body will adapt to meet that. In other words, it's going to slow your metabolism down over time. It's a survival mechanism, really, to say, okay, well, we got to make sure that, hey, we're doing all this activity, we're doing all this cardio, calories getting lower. We got to slow the metabolism down to make sure that we don't actually die. Because literally, your brain does not know the difference between being out in the jungle, running around, trying to survive like we were hundreds of years ago versus, now where here we are, we're doing preps and trying to get lean for stage. Well, your body doesn't know that difference. So no matter what, your metabolism slows down. And what you want to really start to do for any division, no matter if it's wellness, bikini, figure, men's physique, classic physique, bodybuilding, any division you're doing, is you want to start doing what is called a reverse diet. And if you've been here on my channel for a while, I know you've heard me use this term and I've done a lot of content on it, but I'm going to give you a quick overview of what the reverse diet is and how you can implement it to have your best stage physique 2021, all right? It's coming right up. We're almost there. How do you get your best? We're going to talk about it right after this break.
1, 2, 3.
Reverse diet. It's literally what it sounds like. We're reversing the diet. On a prep, you're doing a diet. Calories go down. Cardio goes up. Weight training intensity goes up. You're trying to attain a specific goal. And as we just noted, your metabolism slows down, okay? And it does this to whatever degree you dieted. Unfortunately, a lot of coaches do dieting very, very extreme. And this damage can be really, really hard to start to reverse. And it takes a long time. But for example, the way we coach on TeamFFLEX, we don't do a lot of that extreme measure. We get athletes ready doing sustainable, type of nutrition, sustainable training, as little cardio as possible, hitting the training hard, hitting the weights hard, getting the best results, getting those first day in place trophies, but without the side effects. And a lot of coaches, unfortunately, are very lazy and they don't want to put all that work into that, all that attention to that. It is very hard to do a prep like that and not have severe side effects. That's why you hear a lot of the horror stories, okay? That's a topic for another video. But the point is here is you get yourself into a spot where your metabolism is slowed down. And as it does that, it can also start to affect your hormones. And it definitely will if you're doing the extreme measures, very low calories, lots of cardio, lots of weight training, all the typical classic things you hear about in the coaching world that are not good, okay? So if you're in one of those spots where you finish the prep and maybe you didn't do it too extreme, or maybe you finished the prep, you did too extreme, either way, you're looking at a reverse diet, okay? And literally what that means is you're going to start to reverse the diet that you've done. So as, maybe you're doing check-ins all your prep and we need to cut a little bit more body fat, we're dropping carbs this week, we're doing this that week, things are changing where you're dieting constantly. Now you need to start to reverse that process, okay? Here's the problem. A lot of people do this too fast, or a lot of competitors drop their coaches right after their show, or their coach doesn't know how to do a reverse diet. These are literally the three most common problems we would see with a reverse diet that I see in the industry, that I see in the coaching space, in other words. And what I hear horror stories from competitors all the time, they get into these bad spots where they've rebounded so much weight or they have still hormone problems or whatever, from a prep. Well, here's the thing. A reverse diet should be done strategically, sustainably, and at a slow pace. Here's the problem. One problem right here would be right out the gate would be to say, okay, they don't do a reverse diet at all. They end their show and they're like, great, thanks coach, see you later, I'm out of here, I'm cutting my, my payments off to you, I'm cutting all this, I'm out of here, I'm done, I'm not prepping for a while, so I don't need a reverse diet. Well, that's a big, big mistake, because as we just mentioned, your body has got used to dropping your maintenance down. As you cut calories, as you did this prep, you're dropping down all that time, right? You're getting to a low level where now your new caloric maintenance, in other words, where your body is maintaining, is a lot lower calorically. So when now you go off the plan and you're out, oh, show's over, I'm eating pizza, I'm eating burgers, I'm eating burritos, I'm eating every ice cream and cookie I can imagine, all the things I deprived myself of on prep, and I'm eating it in untracked amounts, thousands and thousands of calories. Well, your body starts to say, whoa, 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 this is way, way above maintenance, and we're gaining a lot of body fat. Your body actually wants to do that, going back to that survival mechanism, right? If you dieted too hard, too long, or even to a small degree, your body's goal is to say, hey, we need to put some body fat on, and it will do that in rapid amounts. So when you go to having, you've been in low calories for months, doing a prep, doing all this cardio, doing all this training, to now you're eating everything in sight, you're thousands of calories in a surplus at that point, you can gain body fat like insane amounts. You can gain back 5-10 pounds a week for weeks at a time. It's not uncommon to see competitors gain 20, 25, 30 pounds after a competition, and you can bet literally zero of that is going to be muscle. It's pretty much all body fat, which is something you really want to avoid as a competitor, because it gets you in a spot where now you have all this extra body fat. Your hormones are still jacked up. Your metabolic rate didn't catch up. You didn't actually reverse anything. You just ate too much and gained a bunch of body fat. And now when you prep again, you got to cut it off. And honestly, mentally, for a lot of competitors, that gaining that much weight that fast is such a traumatic problem for them that it can really tax you through an improvement season, off season, okay? So that's definitely one of the biggest issues, and why you really want to do a reverse diet no matter what, and you want to take this seriously. And I strongly suggest having a coach for it, because at the end of the day, it's very hard to do yourself. I'm going to give you some tips, some pointers, some ideas to think about right here just after this break. get is, hey, can you do a reverse diet yourself? Is it easy to do on your own? Is that something we can really do? And I would say the answer is no. I would really strongly suggest you don't do it unless you have years and years of coaching experience, okay? Because literally there is not a book on reverse dieting. There's nobody out there pioneering the reverse diet. There's none of that stuff really going on. There's just a lot of coaches that have done it and gained experience and have actual, certifications, credentials, educations, things that the average competitor does not have. That's why they're getting a coach, right, at the end of the day. Or maybe they do have it, but they still want a coach. And either way, you want to have a coach that can guide you through this. And I'll tell you why. Unfortunately, in this industry, there's a lot of coaches that have no idea what a reverse diet is or no idea how to do it, but they like to, appeal to audiences and say they do or whatever, or they just frankly don't even do it. And that's a really bad process to get into with a coach that just puts your calories right back up. For all the reasons I just said back there, you'll gain too much body fat, you're getting a bad spot, your hormones are messed up, your metabolism is messed up. I mean, this is stuff you hear anybody out there that's been competing. Talk to any competitors that at the NPC level, the amateur level, even the pro levels, you'll hear all kinds of stories like this happening all the time where it's almost normalized that it's okay to, gain 30 pounds in 2 weeks after the show. It's okay to have messed up hormones. It's okay to have a messed up metabolism. No, it's not, and it should be avoided at all costs. It's very bad for you. It's very bad for your longevity and your health in general, as a competitor and in life. So it's something you want to avoid. But a reverse diet needs to be done very strategically and in very, I will say a very patient way. And this is something that is lost in the social media world and in bodybuilding in general. Everybody wants to go from, oh, I got last place here, I'm a brand new competitor, I want to become a pro in 3 months. Well, it doesn't really happen that way. And that's kind of lost here also when we talk about reverse dieting. Reverse dieting, the actual act of reverse dieting is raising your calories slowly, strategically, but it happens in the way of macronutrients. So we're talking about your proteins, your carbs, your fats, and those are really what we're talking about when we're dieting anyway, right? Even if you did a meal plan or you're doing a macro plan, whatever, your foods all equate to these macronutrients. There's no way around that. That's what happens. So it doesn't matter if you did a meal plan or you did macro coaching. You got to start reversing that, and you're going to do that through macronutrients. So why it becomes beneficial to have a coach here is because a coach, for example, me, when I'm taking an athlete on a reverse diet after a show, I'm looking at their check-ins every single week, right? I'm saying, all right, what are we seeing in the physique itself versus where we are versus where we need to be next season, all that. What are we seeing happen? Are you gaining fat too fast right now? Are you, you're actually not gaining anything? Are you staying right here in this realm? What's going on? I'm trying to gauge where their metabolism actually is right there, right? And see what's going on, what's been going on. It's easy for me if I've been working with an athlete, because obviously I dieted them, I can reverse diet them much easier. But a lot of times I will take athletes on that were with other coaches post-show because their coach has no idea what they're doing. But anyway, so you start the reverse diet, you start adding in the right macronutrients. You got to really know where the protein's been, where the carbs been, where the fat's been. And then you want to look at these macros and start increasing them slowly, steadily, and in, low amounts, really patiently moving along the process. Make it slower. It's better to go slower than it is too fast. I mean, yeah, you might be in a little bit of a diet phase a little longer there, a week or two longer than you want it to be, but it will be massively beneficial. And again, if you didn't diet too hard in the first place and get yourself in a bad spot, the reverse will be a piece of cake. So you start adding in the right amount of, macronutrients to raise the calories and really bring that up. And slowly what happens over time here is your metabolism starts to fire with you. So, we talked about your metabolism got slow and it got to this low level from this prep. Well, as you start to add these calories in, it starts to rev back up and it goes, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. And week after week, you're adding back in calories. Your physique is staying relatively, contest prep shape. You're not gaining that 30 pounds of body fat back at all. You're not getting into a bad spot where you're packing on body fat at all. Actually, what starts to happen is you stay relatively lean. You're going to put on very little body fat, and you can actually start to make your muscle improvements that you need to make for this improvement season, right? Isn't that the point? And it's so funny to me that, competitors go 100% on prep, and for the rest of the year, rest of the time, they're doing whatever. They're kind of, just keeping it random, playing with it as it is, instead of saying, you know what, why don't I make the most of my improvement season? Why don't I make the most of my reverse diet? What if that was the thing that makes all the difference for your next stage physique? I'm going to tell you more just about that in 1 second. diets, improvement seasons in general can be the make or break for you coming back a little bit better, the same, or maybe worse next season, or literally 10 times better. You can cut years off the process of, trying to become a good competitor, trying to win shows, trying to get a first place, trying to get an overall, trying to get pro. You can cut years and years off this process if you just focus more on the reverse dieting and the improvement season after a show. The truth is about a contest prep, ladies and gentlemen, watching today. There is no time in that prep where you're actually making improvements. Like a prep, literally, you're dieting down. So you're not building new muscle in a prep. You're not doing any of that in a prep. All you are doing is revealing the work that's been done prior in that improvement phase. Okay, so it can be hugely advantageous to you. And why on TeamFFLEX, I make sure everybody's training 365. Like I get people to say, hey, can you just give me 12 weeks of coaching? I say, absolutely not. Will not do it. They just want me to coach you for a prep and that's it? No, I can't do it. Sorry, not going to happen. We turn down people every day like that. I take people that do 12 months because I'm putting them through all phases and they come back and their next show, the season after, the next year, and people are literally in awe all the time. You see it on Instagram, everything else, saying, how did this happen so fast? Must be steroids, must be this. No, it's not. It's the fact that the coaching was done correctly and the athlete focused on the phases and they executed them correctly. Okay, so it's hugely important that you take time to understand improvement season and a reverse diet. Those can be a make or break in you getting where you want to be and you becoming your best, and you can cut years off the timeline. God forbid you don't do it like most of you watching this video won't do it, because most of you will just say, nah, that's not what my coach does. That's not what I do. I just go off the rails after the show, but whatever, I earned it, all this and that. Well, when you gain all that body fat back, you still got the messed up hormones, you still got the metabolism messed up, you still got all these problems going on because you didn't do a reverse diet, you didn't do the actual improvement season. Well, now you're in a spot where you got to go cut all that off. You got to do all that before you can even do a prep. And, if you're going into prep after prep with messed up hormones, messed up metabolism, your preps that you're going to be able to do will be short-lived. You'll be one of those competitors that come into the sport for a year, 2 years, they beat themselves up, they get to such a bad spot either physically, mentally, or with their health overall that they just can't continue to prep and they won't compete anymore. And we see this all the time. That's a lot of competitors that happen. That happens to a lot of people that come into the sport because they don't understand that knowledge. They don't understand just how important that is, and they don't understand how to make the most of that. I will tell you right now, champions, the physiques that you look up to, the people that win first, the people that go overall, the people that turn pro and beyond, are all people that prioritize training 365. There is no factor where they're going to leave it to chance. There is no point where they turn it off. There is no off season. There's only a season forward and a new goal and a new focus, and you should have improvement season goals. You should be having a coached reverse diet, and you should come back to the stage the next season looking 10 times better than you did the year before. If you didn't do that, it's either bad coaching or you're a bad client. You didn't do the actual stuff right? And this stuff happens. There's all sorts of variances, but really at the end of the day, I will tell you all out there, anybody watching, you made it this far, the most serious thing you can take from this video is do the reverse diet, do the improvement season, stay on these things, train 365, get the best, rev your metabolism back up, get your hormones where they need to be, get all this in check, because here's what happens. Like I said, if you go through this reverse diet, you do all this right, you put on minimal body fat, you start to build all the muscle you need to build, make those improvements. You get yourself into a spot where your calories are very high now, and you're looking great, you're feeling great, your body's functioning well, everything is awesome, you're well fed, and hey, it's time to prep. And now you're prepping on way higher calories. You cut and you start slicing body fat like crazy, but your calories are 2 times higher than they were the previous year, and you're going to stage. That's a reality that can be there for you. That's a reality you can actually have. You got to get the right type of coaching. You got to get yourself in the right spot, and that's really what I want to say and why I want to bring this video home. I've been getting a lot of questions about improvement season nutrition for many divisions, but it's really all the same for all divisions. You need to start a reverse diet. You got to get these things in there, and you need to know when it's time to raise carbs, when it's time to bring protein up, when it's time to bring fat up. Don't just do random stuff. Don't think you can do this. Don't think you can watch my YouTube and do this. Get yourself a coach that knows what they're doing and they're qualified to do it, all right? So I hope that was helpful to y'all today. Please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, share the video out if you are a competitor and you know people that will benefit from hearing this. I seriously appreciate it so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. As always, you can check out our free coaching trial at TeamFFLEX.com, and I can tell you a lot more about reverse diets, improvement seasons over there than I can right here. So I hope to see you on the other side. Thanks for watching. Coach Rye is out.